It is the Indulgent Islander, episode 10. Swanky new intro music. Where'd that come from?
Bells and whistles. So our new theme song, hot off the presses, comes from local legend Mr. Jevon Daly. Put that together for us. Super pumped. That's why I'm wearing my signature Jevon is my therapist trucker hat, and a little bit of an insider thing. There's always a method to my madness. So you see, Tim, I got the Legion of Doom T-shirt on today.
Nice.
And to give you a little bit of a factoid about the Daly brothers, Jevon and his brother, world famous tattoo artist Gnarly Gav, when they were younger and they were in their weightlifting phase, let's call it, and they were pumping iron, and clanging and banging in the garage with Sean O'Hare, the late great Sean O'Hare of WWE fame. They were huge fans of the Road Warriors, the Legion of Doom. So I always like when I find old school photos and video of the Road Warriors, LOD. I always send them over to Jevon and Gavin. So yeah, thank you to Jevon for that really cool theme song. The name of it is Ceviche, which may or may not be a Cactus Street Cantina reference. I can neither confirm nor deny.
Okay. Very nice.
Yes.
Thank you, Jevon. Jevon, as Nick said, local legend. Sharks are our homies. All of the Man Crush, all of his kids show music. You can catch him in 17 different bands around the low country. JoJo Squirrel and the Home Pickles.
Saturdays at Tiki Hut.
Kids shows coming back to Coligny this spring and summer. Very excited about that.
All those dates are out if you want to check his social media.
Yeah. Kind of hard to miss his social media. Jevon and Maggie and Jevon doing low country stuff. Great videos there. But Jevon's phenomenal. So, it's a May River thing is the theme music to Low Country Chronicle podcast. So very excited to have Jevon in the mix once again. All right. So, breakfast hotspots, our topic this week, Nick.
Yes.
Yeah, very excited for this one. Plenty of spots, which is really crazy to me because when I first got down here in 2004, there were very few spots, and I'm gonna preface. I'm just gonna say very few spots. Michael Sullivan, I see you. I hear you. Michael sent me a screenshot of the Bluffton Breeze. Apparently, last week I said something to the effect that like downtown Delhi was like one of two restaurants. I didn't mean that. I meant like one of a few in Old Town. One of the OGs. Michael sent me a screenshot of the Bluffton Breeze from 2004 that had all the restaurants in Bluffton listed. There were, there were maybe 2 pages worth. So there was plenty of restaurants. I never was saying that. I was just saying that downtown Delhi was one of my OGs. So Michael, I see you, and thank you for the clarification. And so yes, I will say that in 2004 when I first got here, very few breakfast options. It was it was one of those things where it's like, why doesn't somebody open some breakfast spots around here? Back then, downtown Delhi did breakfast. Shout out to the Morning Wood sandwich. Rest in peace.
Hey, be careful what you say. We got a
Yeah.
meatball club back in the rotation because of you.
I don't think the Morning Wood is coming back. I feel
Okay.
like the classiness of downtown Delhi and catering has risen above Morning Wood at this point. So so you had Squawk Gobble, and then there was a spot that was over near Sheridan Park called Stooges. And that was it. That was the list in terms of Bluffton. Had more spots in Hilton Head, of course, but still not a ton. So to see the list that we had to choose from this week, Nick, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, this week was a lot. It was very difficult to narrow it down. I opened the breadth a little bit, I guess you would say. So we're going to mention quite a few more spots than we typically do. We'll do our usual 5 or 6, and then we're going to do a quick little lightning round, whip around, whatever you want to call it. And we'll do a bunch of quick hitters towards the end. But yeah, this was a lot of fun to do. And we're actually going to have. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
You mentioned a lightning round? Oh, whoops. Oh, wait, here we go.
Now that's cool.
Yeah.
We got to fix a little bit of a typo on the lightning and.
Yes, we do. I have time. I have time.
And we're back with we got that echo again, bud.
Yes, we do. We'll fix that as well.
Cool.
How's that?
All good.
Better? All right.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'll fix that graphic in the interim. So thank you. Great spell check there.
That's my OCD. So I know we're going to do some news and notes type of stuff before we get into the meat, the breakfast meat of this episode.
So news and notes sponsored by our friends. By our friend Anthony Mascolo. Anthony and cohomes.com.
Tim, we're echoing, bud.
Oh, gosh. Something happened with this software. All right. That's better, right?
That's better.
It's picking up my AirPods as a sound potential. So every screen I go into, I have to turn off the AirPods. But nobody cares about that. Anyway, Anthony, luxury real estate advisor serving Bluffton, Hilton Head, and the Low Country. 347-739-5984. Part of the Keller Williams Low Country family. Anthony Mascolo, OG sponsor of the Indulgent Islander. Any Anthony intel this week?
He's been rolling with some closings, I'll tell you that. I just saw him post one, I feel like just yesterday. We are officially, as you know, in spring, and we are officially, the spring market is here. So this is the time. Yes, here it is. Toll Brothers property in Riverton Point represented the buyers. Yeah, so we're getting into the busyness of the business, as they say, with real estate in the Low Country. And that's perfect timing for me to mention, I want to do a quick plug, shameless plug for, as many of you know, I'm a mortgage loan originator. And it was kind of cool last week when I work with Union Home Mortgage. By the way, I don't think I've mentioned that yet. It was pretty cool because last week I got a message, or actually a phone call from a listener of the podcast, Tim. And he has been enjoying our podcast, give us a nice compliment on that. And also saw, as I sprinkle in occasionally advertisements for new loan products and, mortgage specific news. We recently added a new home equity line of credit product. So now we have two different home equity lines of credit that we offer, and they each have their nuanced differences. And he reached out to me because he was looking to consolidate some high interest debt, and sent him over an invitation to our application to our portal. So I thought it would be a good time to mention, homeowners are sitting on a lot of equity, especially with prices and home values being so high. So if anybody is interested in a home equity line of credit, whether it's for debt consolidation, home improvements, and renovations, they want to invest in other properties, things like that. As we continue to see the Fed rate come down, the prime rate, these home equity line of credit rates are coming down as well. One is a fixed product that goes to 85% loan to value. The other one, a variable product that goes to 80. And you can close on these in as little as 5 days. It's pretty impressive. So I just wanted to bring that up. And yes, thanks to our very first sponsor, our inaugural sponsor, Anthony Mascolo of Anthony Mascolo and Company, Anthony and Company. And if you want to know how to get in touch with him, there's just contact information right there. And of course, you're welcome to message us at any time. I actually
Thank
ran
you.
into him at when I was at lunch the other day. We were going to talk about cheese steak day, which was Monday. And my brother closed on his home purchase. Shout out Jevon Daly with Coast EXP Professionals over in Hilton Head, and Luke Healy of Healy and Forett LLC handled the closing. After we wrapped up closing, we rolled over to downtown Delhi. I know you and I are going to go back there in the next week or two, hang out with Kristen a little bit. But my brother and I went and enjoyed a delicious cheesesteak. I axed the peppers, added some mushrooms, so mushroom and onion. Got some crinkle cut fries on the side. Jay went for just onions. He's not a mushroom or pepper guy. And we're sitting in the back room having a chat about the closing and everything like that. And Anthony actually was meeting a couple of guys for lunch, one of his customers and another person that's very into the youth sports scene. So he came back. I had to give him a little bit of a hard time because he was wearing his Clemson gear. They had a tough loss last week in the tournament. But yeah, small world.
Was that Justin Jarrett?
No, it was his a client that he recently sold a home for over in Moss Creek was introducing him to someone via his sports endeavors. Thought that they would have a lot in common. So as most are prone to do in Bluffton, specifically in downtown Bluffton and Old Town, they met up at downtown Delhi for some lunch and to have a meeting. And it's interesting because it came up in conversation later in the day, and my wife mentioned, it's amazing. We talked about that place a couple of weeks ago. Only open for 4 hours a day, 5 days a week, and I've never been there where it is packed. The reason there were a couple open tables, just one or two in the dining room, but we wanted to take a quick photo and everything, and just have some quiet. So obviously you could spill over into the back room there with all the additional tables that they use for their banquet and their catering venue.
Sure. So, and yes, we will definitely be back to downtown Delhi. The meatball sub is back on the menu, limited time only. They heard it on the podcast and brought it back. Last week didn't work out. Hoping this week will work out better, but we'll definitely get over there for the meatball sub. All right, so where do you want to go next?
So just a quick trip back through last weekend. I had been speaking because I've been over to the new Etang and Okatee a couple of times in the last few months. Got into a conversation with Lorena, who's one of the individuals that runs this relatively new Chinese restaurant. I posted a reel about it yesterday with our experience on Friday. I was there, had a little bit of a business meeting myself, and was also joined by Ruben, RJ Torres from Visually Chopped. And Lorena, we kind of have been speaking about getting her squared away with her Facebook business page, and she wanted to get the word out about the lunch specials that they've been doing. over at Etang. So we went over and we spent a couple hours and ordered some food. I can't go there without ordering soup dumplings, specifically the pork or the chicken soup dumplings. They're excellent, and as is a lot of that, dumpling slash dim sum menu. But the meat of the matter was the lunch specials, which I want to say they begin at $12.99, and it's pretty cool. You get the entree. Sorry, $12.95. So you get your choice of entree. There's 20 different options here. Anything from, you know, General Tso's chicken, sesame chicken, basically chicken, pork, beef, some veggie options as well, tofu, eggplant. You get your entree, you get fried rice or white rice, as well as a soup. I opted for the hot and sour, which is my favorite. And you see some shrimp shumai there. It's very difficult for me when I go to Etang because there's, I got hot oil wontons, I got some shumai, this garlic cucumber salad. I talked about it in the video. It's incredible. I mean, but this was probably the best one, the most flavorful one that I've had since I've been going to Etang since I first visited their location out in Savannah. It's just seasoned so well. It's just garlic, cucumber, and whatever kind of oil that they use, sesame oil, sort of kind of like a vinaigrette consistency on the dressing. It's really spectacular. The hot oil wontons, as you see here, are big fans of those with the chef's pork wontons with the chef's chili oil. So just trying to help get the word out for them. A lot of times people have a little bit of a difficulty identifying, where this place is located. So they're in Okatee on Commerce Place. If you know where the Jersey Mike's is, a lot of people know about that dry cleaner
That
post
has the
office
post
combination
office.
over
Yeah.
there. Yep. Sort of by the back gate, one of the back gates of Sun City before you get to Zaxby's. If you're heading out towards Buford, that's the garlic pork that I enjoyed, which was delicious, very spicy, which I like, also very tasty. Just very the atmosphere in there, the ambiance is very different from the other two locations. I haven't been to the one in Pooler, but Savannah and Oglethorpe and Hilton Head on 278 are basically kind of like a little bit of a diner vibe, whereas the Etang and Okatee, very vibrant, bright neon colored signs and things like that. It's really cool. I like how they have like 4 or 5 of the circular tables with the lazy Susans in the middle. It's great for sharing and everything like that, which I think for this type of restaurant is the best thing to do. So keep an eye out for their lunch specials. We get a lot of questions on a lot of the forums and the groups on Facebook about who's willing to host, larger groups. I would definitely check them out for small to mid-sized groups. You can talk to them specifically about what you want to have on the menu and customize that. The service is very good, and it's, one of the high. We're going to actually talk um, Chinese restaurants next week, and we'll get into more detail with that. I think we're going to have
Special
Martin,
guest.
special guest Martin Lesh, who is an authority, I will say, on Chinese food. He just did another one of his jaunts back up to New York City, and he is a frequent visitor of the Etang on Hilton Head, and he's going to come and talk to us about some Chinese food. But Etang is definitely at the top of the list of Chinese food options, both for dine-in and takeout. They're doing some cool stuff over there. They got a rotating dim sum special menu that you'll want to check out as well. And so we had a lot of fun hanging out over there. I just wanted to give them a quick shout out, a little bit of a teaser for next week's episode on Chinese and Asian food.
Nice. You went over to Strangebird?
Yeah, so I know that we typically focus on Bluffton and Hilton Head, this side of the Savannah River. Over time, I think we'll start to venture over that way, maybe over towards Beaufort and things like that. But we got more than enough to keep us busy over here. That being said, Strange Bird, as many of you might know, is part of the Farm family of restaurants. I remember a couple of years ago, I started to see the food truck pop up. It would post up in Palmetto Bluff, and I started to kind of get my eyes perked up and ears perked up for that. And then I think probably the first time that I enjoyed it was over in Starland Yard by Two Tides, the food truck. And most recently, I would say maybe about between a year and 2 years ago, I'm a little foggy on the time frame, they took over as a permanent brick and mortar location the old Streamliner Diner, which is a really cool spot in Savannah. And unfortunately, a couple of weeks ago, they experienced a fire. It started in, I get to speak with the chef about it at this pop up over the weekend. It started back in the back area of the restaurant, the smoke room, I think he referenced it as, and did some significant damage. So the reason why I wanted to talk about this is because while the restaurant is closed right now, which is 1220 Barnard Street in Savannah, they are doing co-chef de cuisine Daniel Aranza and co-chef de cuisine Felipe Vera, who I saw on Saturday. They've been doing this strange bird sort of on the move type of situation where they're doing pop-ups at different locations. Sorry, it took me a second, but they're calling it Flown the Coop. So I've seen a couple of these. Stop number 6 was this past Saturday at Lone Wolf, which just recently won a James Beard Award for the best bar in Savannah. Lone Wolf Lounge, right outside there, they had this pop up, and it was called Orval Day, which is a type of beer that they offer at the Lone Wolf Lounge. And they had 3 different sandwiches, which they called mitraillettes, which is a type of sandwich in Belgium commonly served at friteries and cafes. So I saw a couple of these sandwiches, a couple of these, offerings on this Flown the Coop menu, and I was like, I got to go check this out. So my wife and I went out there. We stopped at, there's a really cool antique store that's called that's called Pistol Joe's, right across the street from, no, I screwed this up. I said Pistol Joe's. That's Pistol Joe's
Yeah,
is the Cherry
Point.
Point Barbecue. I'm talking about the antique store in Savannah is Picker Joe's. I got my Joe's mixed up. So we stopped at Picker Joe's, checked out some antiques and things like that. And then we moved over yonder, which is kind of like a rodeo bar. Grabbed a couple of micheladas over there. They have really good burgers and other tacos and things like that over there. And then at 2:00, Strange Bird, right outside of Lone Wolf, started grilling up these. They had a steak burger au poivre with Gruyere, peppercorn, mushroom, aioli on a baguette. And then they had two, what they were called fricandels, which I had frickin' never heard of, whatever that is. A fricandel is basically a Netherlands, it's like a Dutch snack, a deep fried skinless sausage made from minced meat, spices, and breadcrumbs. So they had a couple of these fricandels that they were offering.
What
as
am I
well
looking at
as,
here?
that's one of that I believe is the fried chicken fricandel. I
Okay.
think, yeah. So with red onion, bear, buttermilk dressing, and of course they topped it with these delicious crispy fries. And then the other one was, it says potato stomp, which
That's
I
the
had.
sausage one, right?
Yeah, it's that they put that one with what was with potato stomp, which is a mashed potato underneath. All 3 of these were absolutely. The other one is I told you about the burger, and then we got another side of fries with some aioli and some other sauce that they were using there, and it was just delicious. um, duck fat fries. They had aioli. They were topped with rosemary. They had some aioli and Vaduvan ketchup. But yeah, I had never experienced a sausage like this or a chicken sausage sandwich like this. So we put in our order. We took a seat, ordered a couple of beers, and sat in Lone Wolf Lounge, which is a really cool spot. They had a Jake the Snake Roberts picture on the wall, which I thought was pretty cool.
Very nice.
And yeah, very nice. I used to get phone calls from Daniela Stonefield and Rick Hollyfield when they were living over in Savannah. They would hang out at Lone Wolf Lounge, and once in a while they'd be showing Monday Night Raw on the television. So I would always get a text message or a note from them. We're at Lone Wolf Lounge, and they're showing WWE. It was kind of funny, but yeah, it was a real nice afternoon. Sixby's got some good stuff going on over there. The breads look amazing. Again, over yonder is a really cool place to listen to some music and have a bite or two. They had corned beef tacos that day, which I would have loved to try, but I wanted to save my appetite for the fricandels with Strange Bird. So keep an eye on their socials. They're going to tell you where they're going to be bouncing around. Their next one is going to be at the Starland. I'm sorry. They were at the Starland Yard later that day. I apologize. I thought this was a newer post. And then they had like a burger, a fried chicken sandwich, and a slaw dog the following day. So yeah, it's a good way to support them while they're waiting to get back up and running at the brick and mortar location, which is a really cool spot. And they've done ramen pop-ups there. They've done a lot of cool stuff. So I hope sooner than later they can get back in there and sort of pick up where they left off.
Nice.
Yep.
And then we've got a restaurant opening coming up here pretty quick here. You're actually headed over there today for a soft opening, right?
Yes. So the long-awaited debut of Radici Italian Chop House will be tomorrow evening, March 27th. For the most part, it sounds like they are pretty much sold out through the weekend. A friend of mine was trying to get a reservation for Friday or Saturday. I think they only had an 8:30 table available. I stopped by there on actually yesterday morning. I was meeting with George and someone else over there. Went behind to Pan Fresco Ole and got a quick bite to eat. And Camila told me that they're very full for coming up for this weekend, and that even like the seats along the bar. There you see Camila in the center of the photo. There, she'll be running the front of the house, and you have Mattia, John Domenico, and of course George Casalicchio, who will be there as well a couple of times, especially opening night, I'm sure. So even the bar seats are spoken for with reservation. So they're having actually a soft opening tonight. I'll be heading over there in a couple hours to check it out, and we'll have some more details. Hopefully, some great news for you guys coming up on the podcast next week. Best of luck to them.
Nice little preview video they put up of what the inside's looking like. They've obviously done some renovations since taking over the Poor Richards building. So very, very exciting to have them on the scene, and can't wait to hear the first week review from you.
Yeah, the space looks really nice. It's really sharp. It's an open kitchen concept, so it's definitely different from the way that it looked as Poor Richards. Poor Richards had more of an eclectic look. This is more modern, sleek, I would say. Much sort of, when I say cleaner, just flatter, bold colors as opposed to, like I said, eclectic, like Poor Richards was with all the funky art and stuff like that they would have on the wall. The bar goes all the way from when you first walk in all the way to the back now. So it's a little bit different of a layout. And there's quite a few tables. I think not too many tables, but definitely, I don't know how much the dining room seats, but they definitely have transformed the space. And I'm excited to see what they're going to show everybody this weekend.
Very nice, very nice. Before we get into the main attraction today, I want to send a shout out to another one of our sponsors,
We got an echo kitchen. We got an echo, bud.
Lulu Kitchen Restaurant and Bar, your next favorite dining destination. Upscale American cuisine helmed by acclaimed chef Scott Hastings and his wife Jennifer. The spring menu has sprung. Come sample it, and join them for Easter on April 20th. Make your reservations now for menus and to reserve online. LuluKitchen-HHI.com. They are at 890 William Hilton Parkway, Suite 1. And you can reach them at 843-648-5858. We have talked about Lulu last week. They will be in the mix this week as well a little bit. But big fans of what the Hastings are doing out there. And y'all are as well. They're an open table diner's choice for 2024. Likely headed that way in 2025.
We're coming up on what I like to kind of refer to, and I might be just debuting this today, but we're coming up on Lulu Kitchen season, in my opinion. As many people have heard me say, Lulu's probably my mother's favorite restaurant in all of the area. We did Mother's Day there last year. They do a beautiful Easter brunch. So whether it's Easter in mid to late April this year, whether it's Mother's Day, Sunday, May 11th, or Father's Day, Sunday, June 15th, any other occasion in between, obviously lunch and dinner, and then Sunday brunch, which I think is spectacular. I think we'll probably mention a little bit about that later in the show. But yeah, this is this time in the season. And as we mentioned last week or the week before, after we sat down with Scott, they're going to be doing some improvements out there as well on the patio. So go
Very
check
excited.
them out. Yeah, it's before obviously you get into the real warmer summer months, in July and August. It's the perfect time to sit out on the patio and enjoy some brunch, lunch, or dinner at Lulu Kitchen.
So talk to me about breakfast, Nick. What I have obviously some things I look for. That is our main topic this week on the Indulgent Islander Podcast. Hope you are enjoying the broadcast so far. Huge thanks to all of you for the watches, the listens, the feedback. Just continues to grow week over week. We're very excited. We're excited to talk about breakfast. What are you looking for in the perfect breakfast meal, Nick?
It depends on the mood I'm in. I love a good breakfast sandwich, but if I'm going to have a sit down breakfast, as always, I like to try a couple of different things if I can. I'm big on omelets. I've been making some pretty decent looking omelets at home myself lately, which is a lot of fun. But I'm big on omelets. I'm big on, if I really want to treat myself, I'm big on a chicken fried steak. I don't typically go in the direction of waffles and pancakes and things like that. That's usually my wife's thing. When we go out to breakfast, she kind of likes a lot of that stuff, French toast and all this kind of stuff. But like I said, it depends on what mood I'm in. But I typically get drawn in by the omelet type things. And I even like a good, non-traditional breakfast sandwich. I mean, even if something like when you go to, what's the, of course, now I'm going to blank. Like you even go to like a Denny's, right? And you get like a Moons Over My Hammy it's like a grilled cheese with ham and they throw the egg on there. Sometimes I make egg sandwiches at home as well, whether it's with Taylor ham, bacon or sausage or things like that. But the cool thing about the South is that it's an exponential amount of options, right? Because you get into biscuits and gravy, and you get into
Chicken and waffles.
chicken and waffles, shrimp and grits. I had an amazing dinner last night at Fleeting in the Thompson Hotel in Savannah. As one of their pop-ups. It's called Quattro Spice. Now, ironically, it's probably the only thing on the menu that we didn't order. But even on a sort of Mexican themed, Mexican/local seafood themed pop-up, they had shrimp and grits on that menu. So we had to draw the line somewhere. And, whereas someone like my father will almost order shrimp and grits every single time it's on the menu. It's not one of my favorite things, but the reason why I say this is because they incorporate it almost everywhere, even if it's not on a breakfast menu. So there's a lot of different directions that you can go. And then you're down in the South here, and you got the sweets and the savories and everything. I mean, I even appreciate a good Waffle House, as I did a couple weeks ago after I had a medical thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there was nothing like a nice Waffle House waffle with the peanut butter chips on there. It was just delicious. So,
I would
a loaded
love to
question.
know what the recipe for those Waffle House waffles are, because they're just perfect. They're perfect. And then you get the
They really are
you
thin,
get
light,
the
fluffy.
hash, with the smothered or covered, or eight different ways you can do the hash browns. But yeah, no, I see. So I am definitely I like my over medium eggs, which is where the whole name of the over medium media came from. Kind
Oh
of the
yeah,
way I like way I like my eggs, and the way I see life. Like the eggs, my egg is still runny, a little bit cynical, a little bit hard, but still runny. So, but I do like a good French toast. I do like a good pancake, a good waffle, um, especially at some of these chicken and waffle spots. But I think for me, breakfast is probably the most dependent meal on atmosphere and and customer service. I want a breakfast spot where I just feel homey, where I feel at home, where I feel like I'm not gonna say everybody knows my name, but it just feels like a a hug, a hug in the morning, between the staff and the food. And you've definitely got a bunch of those type spots on your list this week.
you're
Where
easing
do
into the day with breakfast. It's where you're starting. Whether you're sitting
Yes,
in your little breakfast nook at home, sitting
sets the
outside having a
mood.
cup of coffee, you want that same sort of vibe, even if you're going out to a restaurant that's going to be very busy. And I think we should start right off with probably one of the busiest ones that I've seen, and the one that I've probably been to most frequently over the last several months since it opened at the burgeoning New Riverside Village. We're going to start off with Eggs Up Grill in Bluffton.
Lori and George Hudson,
Yes,
they opened up Eggs Up Grill, and they got off to a running start. I think that's probably the easiest way to put it in terms of what they've accomplished over there so far.
I couldn't have said any better myself. The From the very beginning, the space it probably was like the first spot to open over there, right?
Yes,
You know, and beautiful bright space. They got that really nice mural on the wall inside. They got that whole theme with that little like character, that little mascot thing that they have, the egg. Um, Very cool inside. You got some counter spots that you can just walk in and sit down at. You put your name in. Usually you'll have to wait a few minutes, especially if it's on the weekend, to grab a table. They got a couple tables outside. But she does an amazing job. She runs that place. It's a well-oiled machine. The girls and the guys that they got working in there, they work their absolute butts off. There's not a place where you're going to get a quicker, you know, tastier breakfast at a really good value too, I might add, than Eggs Up Grill. I know that this is a chain, but I don't care. Chain or not, this is as good and as efficient and effective as any diner that I've ever been to. From either from the tri-state area where I grew up, um, or anywhere, including my current home now here in Bluffton. I love how the menu has just such a range of things with the bowls and the bennies, all the different classic breakfasts, the biscuits and gravy, like we talked about. They have some really cool, spicy things like the Baja chicken omelet. or the Texas farmhouse omelet with the green chilies. I think when you and I met there for breakfast, I went with the Philly cheesesteak omelet that day. That was incredible. And a couple of weeks ago, I got two of the best breakfast sandwiches I've had in a long time, and that was one of them. This was basically a breakfast sandwich with scrambled eggs, American cheese, and bacon. And they have this spicy syrup that they serve with one of their dishes. I can't remember which dish it is off the top of my head, but they give you, you might have to ask for it, but they give you this little glass ramekin it's almost like a sweet chili syrup that you can dip it in. It was outstanding. Between that and the other sandwich that I kind of concocted myself, which I decided to go with a brioche bun, and I did like 2 eggs over easy. No disrespect to over medium. I went 2 eggs
No.
over easy, so they were a little runny with some sausage and cheese, and that soft brioche bun is soft to begin with, and then when you put some warm eggs on it and cheese and sausage, it was just perfect. They have a griddled blueberry muffin right now that you see there in this picture. They have the donuts, which are incredible, drizzled with like a caramel sauce and
Croissant
dusted with
donuts, I
powdered
think. Yeah,
sugar.
they're like,
Croissant donuts. And
yeah.
they'll rotate in seasonally. They'll rotate in certain things where you'll be able to get those as like strawberries and cream. Like they'll have certain seasonal different things where they'll change it up a little bit with the toppings that they put on the donuts. I love their coffee drinks, sweet cream, vanilla, cold brew coffee. They got a French vanilla cappuccino. If you're not into that stuff, and even for kids, sparkling strawberry lemonade is delicious. So they even have like a mimosa and a Bloody Mary type thing, but those are made with like one of those canned products. But you wouldn't even know the difference. Like the Bloody Mary is made with a canned product that is essentially a wine, and I couldn't tell the difference between that. And I love myself a good Tito's Bloody Mary, and it was, it hit the spot. So it really, top to bottom, they hit on all the high notes. I have not had single menu meal there that disappointed me, and that's we're going to focus on breakfast today, but that's not even getting into the lunch with the melts and sandwiches and all the other stuff that they have. I love this place, and I love that
Yeah.
it's literally like 5-10 minutes tops down the road from me.
Same here. Same here. It's one of those spots that you see coming and you're like, okay, we have needed a breakfast spot in this little corner for a long time. They're nice people. I really hope it hits. And boy, does this hit. I mean, Nick mentioned so many of the menu items, but I mean, even if you're just going right down the middle, the classic that they give you, that's with the 2 eggs. The Grand Classic, you get 3 eggs. You get bacon and sausage. Your choice of grits, or actually it's grits and home fries, but you can get double home fries, which I usually do because I bring home some for the kids. And then your choice of your choice of toast or muffin. It's a very full, very filling breakfast, and this again, the staff is so nice. You see their posts online; they've really become a family over there very quickly. Yeah, they just do it right. Again, like you said. Okay, yeah, no, it's a chain. I've been to one in Myrtle Beach. I've been to one in different cities as we've done a lot of traveling with basketball. Um, I I don't have a problem with that. I like the consistency of the menu items. I love the fact, like you mentioned, that they switch stuff out seasonally, and then you just add in what Lori and George have done to make that space their own, between the mural by Chelsea Spires, the lighting, the bar right in front of the kitchen. Uh, yeah, I'm a big fan of what they're doing for sure. So I was not surprised to see this on your list. We've already talked a bunch about them in past episodes, but a fitting start to the breakfast list.
It's not cookie cutter like you normally see from chains,
No.
which is what I love about it. And the service is very personal. You could tell that they care. And quite frankly, when you go to a breakfast place on a weekend and you got to wait for a little bit, that's not always convenient. But when you have a beautiful, grass area out front with some cornhole boards and things like that, you really don't mind, right? I mean, I don't have kids, but I see plenty of families that might be waiting for a table, or maybe they're just wrapping up, their breakfast or lunch, and the kids are chilling out front, playing, whether they have their own stuff or sometimes kids don't need anything to play with, but it's just got that really nice setting there, that really nice location, ample parking, and it's cool to have the ability to, if you just want to pop in real quick and grab something to eat, unless it's really jammed up, you should be able to find a quick seat at the bar, even if you just got to wait a couple minutes for that too. So
I
easy to put them on this list because I've been wearing it out. As a matter of fact, there was this period for several weeks there where I hadn't stopped in, and I think Lori messaged me and she saw something about I had posted, and she said, "We haven't seen you in a while." I'm like, "Yeah, you're right." Sure enough, I was back there, within a couple of days, just by myself to go have some breakfast.
Yeah, the again, it's so convenient, right around the corner from us. I know that they're starting to look at a second location.
Oh wow!
Um, so that's they're coming on there. Um, yeah, I'm just a huge fan. So great way to start your list. Where are we
Absolutely.
going next?
We're going to get back on 170 and head out to Okatee, really kind of, I guess, Ridgeland, actually, it is. We've talked a lot about Sunset Pizza. Part of Sunset Pizza, or at least right next door, and they share a kitchen, is another one of my real favorites recently, which is Half Day Cafe and Smoothies.
Nice.
I don't even remember, Tim. I don't know if it was a social media post or something when I first heard about this place opening up, and I was pumped because I took a look at the menu. I noticed that they had some really cool stuff. You got your biscuits and gravy. They got some killer breakfast sandwiches, and no pun intended, because the first breakfast sandwich on the menu is called the Killer: ham, bacon, egg, excuse me, and provolone cheese on a brioche bun. They have bowls, they have pancakes, they have things going from avocado toast to breakfast empanadas. Last night at dinner, I had chilaquiles. You can get chilaquiles at Half Day Cafe, which is steak or chicken with fried corn tortilla strips, salsa verde, and salsa rojo with 2 eggs your way. They
What's
have
going on
Benedict.
here?
That's the breakfast burrito.
Ah, okay. Very
Yeah.
nice.
Hash browns, scrambled eggs, carne asada, jalapeno, green pepper, onion, bacon, queso, and a house made tortilla. This
That looks
place is
delicious.
legit with a capital L. That's the chilaquiles. It was awesome. They got good chicken and waffles there, where they give you like a couple of the chicken strips, the chicken fingers on their waffle with like a spicy, I want to say like almost like a sriracha spicy syrup. I can't say enough good things about this place. They do lunch as well, but the breakfast is just off the charts good. Sometimes I'll put it in online order. I'll just go pick it up. Sometimes we'll go and grab a table. Pretty busy on the weekends, but usually not, where you can't at least find a seat at the bar. And sometimes I'll do just that. Sometimes I'll put in the order and I'll head over there and I'll just sit at the bar and have a cup of coffee or something like that, chatting with the staff. Big T runs that place. They're efficient. And I like just a lot of the creativity of the dishes. You know, they got another breakfast sandwich called the Cherry Point with sausage, eggs, tomatoes, jalapenos, and cheddar cheese. Or a low bottom, Nathan's bacon, ham, eggs, and American cheese in a brioche bun. There's just a big range of things that they offer. You can get, a couple of different bennies, bowls. They got a breakfast empanada. They got a Southwest empanada, and there's the chicken and waffles, which I think was outstanding. Very good smoothies too. I've had several of the smoothies, ranging from like the coffee smoothie to fruit forward smoothies. They do a really good job with those. And this has been one of my more recent favorites. And again, not a far ride to head over to Ridgeland to grab breakfast. Almost right, sort of before you get to the intersection of Argent, where the Pistol Joe's Cherry Point Barbecue is.
I feel like this is one of those, quite honestly, very similar to Full Moon. I mean, Sunset Pizza and Full Moon Saloon.
Sunset Pizza, Full Moon Saloon. Yep.
I feel like this is like one of those if you know places that everybody needs to know about, and probably the locals right along the stretch there don't want you to know about it. I won't say I got that kind of vibe when I went there, but it's very much gives off a vibe of a local spot, and there's nothing wrong with that. So maybe if you're from Old Town or Hidden Lakes or Hampton Lake, maybe you haven't ventured out there. Just like we said with Sunset Pizza, this is definitely worth the trip. It's a interesting spot. One of the pictures you had sent kind of got my attention.
I had to.
Look
at that.
That's so the Big Lebowski going on there.
It's a Big Lebowski as the Nirvana baby from
it's the Nirvana cover with Lebowski with the dude and a Folgers can. There's so many good things going on. That's awesome. So that tells you the place has personality right there.
Yeah, they got some cool looking art in that place. It's just a really cool place, neighborhood type of place, super friendly and just super high quality food. Everything that I've had there has been great. I need to dabble into more of the lunch stuff. The beef dip has got my eyes. Thinly sliced roast beef, sauteed mushrooms and onions served with au jus and mozzarella. So I got to start to explore more of they got a Cuban panini, they got a bunch of salads, but the breakfast at this place is excellent.
If you hit the Argent light heading from Bluffton to Beaufort on 170, you've gone too far. You can easily take a left and turn around, but it comes up. That plaza comes up on you quick because
it sneaks up quick.
I'm looking for, and especially at night, but I'm looking for the Circle K, and it's right before the Circle K. So like you just got to kind of have it in your mind to get over left. But I'll tell you what, it is worth it for sure. Great pick there. What's next on the list?
So we got two newer places. We're going to go into Old Town Bluffton to much more old school place. We're going to go for some old town Bluffton charm, and we're going to head to, really a classic in Bluffton. One of my favorite places, quaint, really kind of, like I said, old school, cool vibe. And that is Leslie Rowland's The Cottage Cafe, Bakery, and Tea Room.
Very nice. Yeah, they do so many things well there. She's been recognized by the National Chamber of Commerce as a top businesswoman in the country, and the minute you go in there, you feel it.
It's a historic building. They did a lot of updates a few months ago. I can't wait to go check them out. They even have some space for small groups to gather. If people don't know, Leslie owns the Juice Hive. She also owns the Pasta Shop, right?
Yes.
There in Bluffton Village. I didn't know that it says she's also the creator, owner, chief roaster at May River Coffee Roasters. I didn't know that part of it.
Yes. Yeah, they
Yeah.
created
So
that to sell out of the cottage, but it's kind of become its own thing for sure.
the cottage is it's an experience. We always talk about experiences. I love the fact that you can go there and you can enjoy, um, you can start with scrambles, keep it simple. They got 3 different kinds of mimosas, cranberry juice, a peach nectar, and a Chambord. The Bloody Marys are delicious. I like the Dilly Dally with dill pickle vodka. They got a cucumber lime one and a Hornitos tequila one. Their omelet, the ABC omelet with artichoke, crab mix, brie, creme fraiche, scallion. That's a Bluffton and Hilton Head Reader's Choice Award winner. They do corned beef hash. They do shrimp and grits. They do Benedict's. You see an omelet there. They do rancheros. They do crab cakes. You can get a regular country boy platter with scrambled eggs, bacon, sausage, ham, grits, toast, and fruit. They got challah French toast. And they have the most amazing dessert display that you will ever see. They do a really cool afternoon tea menu, which is really cool. And then on Sundays, they have a specific brunch menu for Sunday that has, the same cocktails available, but there's just a couple of other different options, like, fried chicken and waffles. You can get 5 different kinds of shrimp and grits on Sundays. They got a brunch taco, and then they got 5 other scrambles, and then a couple of the ones like we said before with avocado toast. They got it says caveman pancakes, which is really funny. That Monte Cristo might be the best Monte Cristo I've ever had. Turkey ham, Swiss cheese, battered and seared with grape sauce. I had never even heard of grape sauce. It's exactly like it sounds, and of course the sprinkled powdered sugar. When I was younger, I always had a difficult time wrapping my head around the Monte Cristo because with the sugar, I don't usually like to mix my saltiness and my sweets. But the very first time that I took a bite of a Monte Cristo, period, I fell in love with it. And again, this is the best one I've ever had. I also need to talk about probably my absolute favorite dish there is it's like a decomposed crab and corn pot pie. I mean, just incredible. Puff
Wow.
pastry with creme fraiche. It is outstanding. Um, I can't say enough good things. They got a great gumbo there. That's more lunch centric or whatever. But, whether you're sitting out on the porch, whether you're sitting inside, again, I can't wait to check the updates that they've made. It is as old school as they get, but it's clean, it's comfortable. The service is spectacular. You might have a little bit of a wait on a busy day, especially if you're going, you know, the
Weekend,
farmers
Friday,
market day.
Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah, farmers market
Farmers
Thursdays.
market on Thursday, as we get more into the spring, summer for sure.
So she does a lot of catering and events and things like that too. But if you want to go and have like a really special time, like one time, I think I've mentioned this before. I ran into a handful of kids maybe in their 20s in Savannah when I was at Brochu's having dinner one night, and the guy says, "Where should I take my mom for breakfast?" If you had one shot and you wanted to take your mother, or it doesn't have to be female, but I'm just saying that type of example. If you want to have a nice treat and you want to go have a nice lunch in a quaint place in a historical thing that screams Old Town, it's the cottage.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It is quintessential Old Town Bluffton. It is
Perfect.
It is the place to, see and be seen. The porch is great people watching, a great people watching spot during like you said, a farmer's market Thursday or a Saturday morning, a Sunday morning brunch, and Nick said it all on the food. I can't say anything more better than he did. It's the food is amazing. There's so many treasures on that menu, and they're always creating. They're always trying to find the next thing, and it's very clear from the minute you walk in, just all of the little touches at the cottage, that they care about your experience and they are in love with creating classic dishes.
And if you dare, and you're finishing up your breakfast or your lunch, and you want to take over, like I said, and look at this bakery case, you are going to be blown away. I mean,
Oh
I'm looking
my.
at this list, and it says that this is just the following is only a partial list. I'm not going to read them all, Tim, but tropical carrot cake. Like, there's cakes on here that I've never even heard of.
Amazing. I can't believe you started there, because like that carrot cake, I'm kind of a carrot cake snob just because my nana made a phenomenal carrot cake. That carrot cake is to die for. Proceed.
They got a creamsicle cake. I don't even know what that is, but I want to eat it.
Right?
Incredible. Pies, cheesecake, tarts, cookies, scones, bread pudding. We got to move on. These sweets are killing me right now.
All right. Before we move on with the list, I want to give a shout out to our.
We got to echo.
Yes. Want to give a shout out to our third sponsor, Antonio Mancini Albano, AMA Private Chef Services, top-rated personalized chef services serving Beaufort County, Savannah, Charleston, and the surrounding areas. Book Antonio now at amaprivatedining.com. You see here in the video, I spied a Nick DeSimone in there in one of these videos, but that's Antonio hard at work there, creating some amazing dishes. You have had the pleasure of sampling the incredible work from Antonio a bunch.
That was the night that we were at May River Manor for the local serving locals dinner. It was awesome. He is incredible. I've eaten his food, on site as I did it that night. I've done one of his meals where he delivers the meal.
You did that for Valentine's Day, right?
For Valentine's Day, exactly. I'm trying to find it right now. He did St. Patrick's Day meal kits, and I'm trying to find it right now. I feel like it was recently where I saw. I think he's doing Easter dinners as well, I believe. But check him out on Facebook at AMA Private Dining, and if I can find this, I'm going to take a look at the Instagram page, because I think that's actually where I might have seen it, not Facebook. But yeah, I saw that advertised very recently as well. I saw a post about the drop-off meals. He's incredible. He's going to be coming on with us in a couple of weeks for a live interview on the podcast. And as good as you can get for personalized personal chef services. He goes all the way over to Beaufort. He was in Savannah for all weekend for the St. Patrick's Day festivities. I believe he actually was back up in New Jersey this past week for an event or something that he was doing. I don't know too many people that work as hard as Anthony does, and as Antonio does. We got an Anthony and an Antonio, so I got to be better with that.
You did it the first episode, or I did it the first time we talked to Antonio. I called him Anthony because we had just talked to Anthony, and you've done it a couple times since, and It's
I guess it
very
could be
easy to
worse.
do. It's very
I guess
easy to
it
do.
could be worse.
Exactly.
It's just
You could call
we're just
Larry.
anglicizing it, but no,
Book
Antonio's
Antonio
awesome.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah, book
And
him
you get
now at
$100 off
AMA.
if you mention the Indulgent Islander.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Yep.
$100 off if you mention the Indulgent Islander. AMAprivatedining.com, 908-477-6043 for AMA Private Chef Services. All right, back to the list.
We'll get back on May River Road, head back out towards where we live here. Not too far, though. Before you really even get out of Old Town, you're going to hit Squat and Gobble. Now, we talked about Squat and Gobble quite a bit when we did comfort food, so we'll keep this one short.
Yep.
I mean, again, shrimp and grits, breakfast Philly on Texas toast, grits on a shingle, chicken biscuit, biscuits and gravy, chicken and waffles, Benedict's, French toast, pancakes, waffles, omelets. I mean, Squat and Gobble, the world famous cinnamon rolls, which are, they fly off the shelves. Highly recommend those. They're amazing.
Oh, they are so good. Since the surgery, I have definitely cut down on my cinnamon roll intake, but the boys and Debbie absolutely love them. So like anytime I go to Squat,
pancake.
you gotta have the cinnamon rolls.
Pancakes are gorgeous.
The pancakes are really special. Like they're so delicious. The chocolate chip pancakes, they're amazing. The French toast is incredible there. They have a 2-2-2 where you can get a couple eggs, couple of pancakes or French toast, and some bacon or sausage. It's the pancakes are amazing. Really, just the whole experience. What is this, Nick?
I'm glad you asked, Timothy. That, my friend, is an off-menu special, the Grouper Reuben. And it is exactly as I said. It is a Reuben with grouper, fried grouper, instead of corned beef or pastrami or whatever you traditionally have on your Reuben.
Wow.
Yes.
Now,
I think I got
obviously
mac
not a
and cheese
breakfast item,
bites with
but I was curious in the photos you sent, but because I feel like I've seen most of the menu and you went off menu here. Wow, the Grouper Reuben.
Nothing quite like an off-menu special.
What do you got
Yes.
going on? Obviously Grouper, but what else you got going on in there?
You got the cheese. I don't remember which kind of cheese it was. And then, of course, I want to sauerkraut, right, on a Reuben?
Yes. Yep.
Melty,
that looks
grilled
delicious.
cheese kind of thing.
Are those tots?
I'm trying to see if I can find. I actually went with the mac and cheese bites on the side with those. I wanted to give those a shot.
Nice.
Yeah. Yes.
But yeah, here's your classic breakfast. That's
trying to see if I could maybe find.
That's like a 2-2-2. No, that's just your classic breakfast. A couple of eggs, some bacon. Their home fries are amazing. The toast, it's all just done perfectly. Star, the Wozniaks, the whole crew there. Justin, Logan, Terry. I'm forgetting Karen, forgetting names, but we love them all there. Again, a spot where you go, you just feel at home. It is a long time breakfast destination in Bluffton. It's definitely known by the tourists. It's very eclectic inside the decorations. You can see on the walls that they've been featured in one of Dolly Parton's cookbooks, and just a lot of different things going on on the walls. Very very unique spot. Has definitely become a tourist destination. The name alone attracts people like squat and gobble, huh? Okay. But the food will keep you coming back. The food and the service and just the personalized attention will keep you coming back.
I'm not exactly sure what this is, but it looks to me like it's fried chicken on their biscuits with sausage gravy
Yeah.
and then eggs on top of that. I
Yep.
don't know if that was a special because they got a chicken and biscuit that you get fried chicken on a biscuit with home fries or grits and a side of sausage gravy, but that right there is just an incredible looking dish. I remember it was amazing. I just don't remember if it was a special or something like that.
You
Yeah,
know,
I mean it was incredible.
and we try to keep we try to like put these restaurants into one category. Couldn't do that with Squat. Couldn't do that. I mean, it's comfort food. Maybe they took the bracketologists like March Madness will probably say that Squat took a spot on the comfort food list that maybe could have gone to like a Kenny B's or a spot like that, but Squat's that good. Squat and Gobble is that good. Star and her mother and the whole crew there have just set a bar for really the rest of Old Town Bluffton to live up to.
100%. I don't have any issue mentioning them in across multiple categories because they
Yep,
deserve it.
for sure. All right, where do we go next?
Let's go to Hilton Head. When people are asking for the best breakfast or brunch on Hilton Head, there's one answer that just keeps coming up time and time and time and time again. And if you want to see why, just go there pretty much any day of the week that they're open, and you'll see why Palmetto Bay Sunrise Cafe is the locals' favorite. Not just locals, but visitors and vacationers that are here for a weekend, a week, a couple of weeks, whatever it is. I have not met a single solitary person that doesn't absolutely love Palmetto Bay Sunrise Cafe. Now,
There's so much to
this,
love. I mean, that's the
this
thing.
menu, it's overwhelming. They got the Sunrisers whole section of breakfast stuff. Where do you begin, Tim? You want to talk about shrimp hash, sauteed shrimp with peppers, onions, and broccoli with hash browns, topped with 2 eggs and hollandaise. Those are the Benedicts. My father enjoyed those when we were there a couple of months ago. Um, you can get them with city ham. You can get them with a crab cake, smoked salmon. You can get them with avocado, grilled red onion, and sliced tomatoes. They call that the sunrise. You can get it with shrimp and spinach. What you're seeing here is one of their classics. This is a bake called a strata, one of my favorite breakfast things of all time. Used to visit our friends quite a bit in the Pennsylvania and the Philly area, and a lot of times my friend Christy would make a strata, which she would prepare, all the night before. It's basically layered with eggs, sausage, onions, cheese. Sometimes they put some sort of bread in there. This was absolutely incredible, topped with their own chili sauce. You can get it with hash browns, you can get it with grits. They have quiche, they have pancakes, they have biscuits and gravy. They got a late risers menu that's got a bunch of lunch stuff, but what I'd really like to talk about is what they call the daily specials, which are going to knock your socks off. Daily specials, I'm going to mention all 5 of them because they all deserve to be mentioned. They have blueberry cream cheese stuffed French toast with raspberry sauce. And you get that with bacon or sausage. They have a fried chicken eggs Benedict with their sausage gravy. Again, hash browns or grits. They have fried bologna eggs Benedict with a Chiron sauce. I had to look that up when I was there, when I was trying to decide what I wanted. It's basically a hollandaise or a béarnaise with tomato added to it. How creative is that? And of
It's
course,
it's it is. It's amazing. I've had the fried bologna eggs Benedict, and it's a taste sensation.
thick cut bologna, right?
Oh my. Absolutely. Bring you back.
Pretty darn, named after our guys, Nick Poulin and Kyle Wareham.
Kyle. Kyle.
Open-faced English muffin topped with avocado, tomato, sautéed onions, homemade salsa, and guacamole on the side. A vegan breakfast dream. And then, of course, the Sprout Mama avocado toast. Shout out to Sprout Mama. We've mentioned before. They have a thick slice of Sprout Mama toast topped with an avocado, watercress, radish sprouts, toasted almonds, and balsamic and olive oil drizzle. You can add an egg to that if you'd like. In addition to that, sometimes they even have other like specials that they offer. And interestingly enough, when I was there, I didn't get a chance to try it, so I'm definitely going to go back and try it. My buddy Yvonne, who I mentioned earlier, highly recommends their oyster appetizer. He said, even if you're there for breakfast, try the oysters. And I think it's these, I don't know if it's the sunrise oysters, which are fried with a light chive horseradish cream sauce, or if it was a different preparation. But I've just been told, get the oysters. So
Wow.
if you're
Okay.
there, whichever way that you prefer them, I'm not sure if that's exactly the one, but I heard that they're can't miss. This place cranks. Inside, not the biggest dining room. Outside, they're on the whole porch. Then they're around the front of the porch. Sometimes the tables are going back into the hallway. Excuse me, towards Black Marlin and Hurricane Bar and things like that. We say the word institution. This is an institution. Palmetto Bay Sunrise Cafe.
Amazing views. I mean, it is it's in the it's in the RV resort, right? It's in that entrance to the RV resort.
Um,
Am I
No, it's all the way. It's all the way. When you go into Palmetto Bay Marina, it's just like it's the very first thing that you see when you get to that marina area.
Yes, yes.
All the way over to the right.
Very nice. Yeah, it's like Nick said, so many options. We were bluffed and heavy on the breakfast, but Sunrise Cafe definitely. Again, Nick's list is in no particular order. It's not like It's not like this is number 5 on the list. It's number 1 in a lot of people's hearts for good reason. So, got an honorable mention. Then we kind of got a bunch to mention just because there's so many good breakfast places. We may not make the main list, but so many good dishes and spots to talk about. But your honorable mention on this list is a newcomer.
Yes, and I was just over there the other day having some breakfast with a friend and mentor. And the only reason why this is an honorable mention is because I really wouldn't say that it's a full restaurant, although I do think that they are planning on eventually growing and maybe adding some lunch options and things like that. We talk about how downtown Delhi is only open 4 hours a day, 5 days a week. The next place is open 6 days a week for 5 hours a day from 7 a.m. until noon. And this is in the Daddy O beer shop when you're going over towards Okatee Ale House in Okatee. When you walk into Daddy O, there's the liquor store, of course, all the way to the left, and then barbershop
Joe's Classic Cuts.
Joe's Classic Cuts. Just got my hair cut Saturday. I don't know why I was drawing a blank. Shout out Lena for always making me look good. when you walk into Daddy-O, right there inside is, now I know this has been a corner perk, and then it was tangerines, and then it was the grind for a minute, and then it was, it's now the Hidden Egg Cafe. And coffee, small or whatever, medium and large, very straightforward. They got a couple different creamers. The menu is, other than a couple of coffee cakes and crumb cakes and things like that, it's breakfast sandwiches. You can get it on a biscuit. You can get it on a bagel. You can get it on a hard roll, which is my favorite. You can get it on, pretty much on anything that you possibly want. That's a Taylor ham, egg, and cheese on their biscuit, which is buttery, flaky biscuit. They have hash browns. Somebody commented on how much ketchup I put on my hash brown. I don't care. Hash browns deserve a lot of ketchup. They have, if you want just like a sausage, egg, and cheese, which is what I had on Monday, sausage, egg, and cheese on a hard roll. They've been doing some rotating specials. You'll be able to get the breakfast burrito. They're just starting this week to do, I can't remember, I think they called it a cowboy breakfast burrito. That's got a little bit of a Southwestern flair to it. There you see the sausage, egg, and cheese. Just reminded me of home, like the deli or the little bodega around the corner that makes really good breakfast sandwiches. I don't think that there's a place in Bluffton or Hilton Head. I know Sweet Al's gets a lot of attention on Hilton Head, and deservedly so. I definitely got to hit that more often. It's just being out here in Bluffton. It's hard for me to get down to the South End for breakfast. But, I know that they've been doing some good stuff too. But if you want just a standard, breakfast sandwich on a hard roll, I used to have a place down around the corner from me in town called Abby's Diner. They called it the Tower, and it really was not a tower by any stretch of the imagination. It was just what they called it, and it was your breakfast sandwich with your choice of bacon, Taylor ham, or sausage. The place is incredible.
Very nice. Very
Yes.
nice. So there's the initial list, but
Yes.
we have a I guess a new feature, just because there was a lot of dishes and quick hits that we wanted to hit here, and we'll save the graphic for next week. But we're calling it the lightning round.
Yeah.
So what else do you want to mention?
Yes. So we're not gonna spend a ton of time on this as we go through the rest of it. And by the way, before we move on, Hidden Egg Cafe, they've also been doing some car shows, which is really
Yes.
cool. So check them out. They're on Facebook. Like I said, they're going to sprinkle in some other stuff. They've done some French toast and things like that as well. But these are, there's one girl working the register, one girl working the grill, and they are really churning out some of the best, breakfast stuff that you can find. But we're going to get to some quick ones here because I felt like we said to start off, a lot of these deserve mention, as we're talking about breakfast. If you're talking about Hilton Head, a big fan of Shelter Cove Town Center, Shelter Cove Marina. Since 1998, the French Bakery in Shelter Cove Town Center. Omelets, French toast, crepes, savory crepes, sweet crepes. They are incredible. The bakery quiche is probably what they're most famous for. What I love is what you're looking at here is the croque madame, or is it the croque monsieur? I'm sorry. Hold on one second here. I just want to find it. For those of you who aren't familiar with a croque madame or a croque monsieur, it's essentially a grilled cheese. So the madame is beechwood smoked ham and melted Swiss cheese on that toast, that bread, which is of course excellent. Then they top it with Swiss cheese, a sunny side up egg, and bechamel sauce on that country French bread. Then you have the croque monsieur, which is essentially the same thing without the sunny side egg on top. I prefer the madame because why not add an egg to something if you can? And when you talk about baked goods, again, if you dare venture over to the left side of the restaurant, you'll find some of the most amazing pastries over there as well.
Nice.
French Bakery is
Nice.
a big hit. Big lunch menu there too, but excellent breakfast.
Where to next?
Well, back into Bluffton. We talked about Jevon Daly. Not only can you find Jevon Daly, like Tim said, at the Tiki Hut Saturdays with JoJo's Squirrel and the Home Pickles, or at his kids show typically in Coligny,
Captain
or
Woody's
at
on Thursday. Yeah.
exactly. I
In
was just there
Bluffton.
this past Thursday. I stopped in after the 1 year anniversary party for the Bluffton Coast office. Shout out to them for their 1 year anniversary. After I left there, I rolled over to Captain Woody's. It had been a minute. Stopped by, enjoyed a couple $5 appetizers as I listened to Jevon and Andy. If you check the schedule at Calhoun Street Tavern or you follow Jevon on his socials, they post up quite a bit at Calhoun Street Tavern for their brunch. I sat out there one day at the bar. I ate their chicken and waffles. Really enjoyed it. Pickled brine fried chicken with a with a sunny egg, Asian slaw, and hickory cane syrup. Their waffles were smaller, like sort of like a square version of almost like a Waffle House type of thing, not really big with like the crevices or those the little the holes or whatever you call it. More of like sort of like a flat, like comes across as more of like a pita, but very tasty. They got a good Bloody Mary there, and they also have a Michelada, which is again I mentioned that from over yonder. House Bloody Mix, Worcestershire hot sauce lime with a cerveza, of course, a beer float and a spiced rim. Great. They call it Sunday goods. If you go check out their menu, great brunch, especially excuse me, on a sunny, you know, spring or summer day to sit out in the courtyard there, listen to some low country boil, different kind of music, and enjoy a nice brunch.
Nice. Nice. Yeah, I've been to Calhoun Street for a lot of different things, but I've hosted trivia there. Never had the brunch, so that looks delicious. So I am definitely gonna have to get out there for that. Where to next?
You can't talk about breakfast in Bluffton without talking about Cahill's, right?
Right.
We've talked about Cahill's before. I want to say it was on the
Comfort.
comfort food.
Yep.
Yeah. So, I mean, Cahill's has probably the biggest breakfast menu known to mankind. And sometimes we say that, a big menu is too big. I disagree, because this has something for everyone. I think what you're looking at here is let's see, I think it's the love handle. Butterflied buttermilk marinated fried chicken breast. Actually, this is the Diablo handle, so it's the spicy version of the love handle. Butterflied buttermilk marinated fried chicken breast, atop a biscuit, drowned with sausage gravy, and on the side with the Diablo, you get a deep fried jalapeno pepper. That was just awesome. You can get the same thing as a Benedict chicken, little Benedict buttermilk marinated fried chicken atop a biscuit with 2 poached eggs and hollandaise instead of the sausage gravy. Not only
Very
do they
nice.
have the huge breakfast menu, Tim, but then they also have the Sunday menu, which is just, it's got a lot of the same hits, but, a couple of other different things that are on there. Go to their website, go check them out. They've done some renovations. They expanded their outdoor dining area. It's a fun place to take the kids because, of course, you got the farm there. You got the market if you want to pick up a few things. Pro tip, if you like their monster biscuit sandwiches, those are only available on the weekdays. On the weekends, they still have biscuits, but it's the smaller version. If you want to go there and get a breakfast biscuit sandwich on a weekday, sausage, egg, and cheese biscuit sandwich at Cahill's is one of the best breakfast sandwiches you will ever have. And it is a meal in and of itself.
Very nice. Very nice. Where to next?
We talk about our sponsor, Lulu Kitchen. I mentioned Mother's Day, Father's Day, Easter. The brunch, the Sunday brunch at Lulu Kitchen is as good as it gets. Whether you want eggs Benedict, whether you want French toast like you see here, short rib hash, you want fried chicken and waffles like my mother likes, where the white cheddar is basically baked into the waffle. They have bourbon maple syrup. You can get a crab cake Benedict. You can get steak and eggs. You
Is
can
that
get
crab cake?
that is the crab cake Benedict.
Nice.
Yes, exactly. You can get their burger, which we've talked about quite a few times. You can add a fried egg to that, make it a little bit of a brunch burger. You can also add seared foie gras for $15 if you want to be really special with it. I like to sometimes just do the New Yorker, which is a toasted everything bagel with smoked salmon, cream cheese schmear, diced red onion, chopped egg, capers, chives. They do a chicken fried lobster Benedict. Wow, I have not had that one, and I want it. With confit peaches, poached eggs with confit peaches, southern champagne gravy, duck fat, home fries, and cornbread. Are you kidding me, man? Incredible. Oh, and if you're into sweets, pick your poison. Mascarpone stuffed French toast with macerated strawberries and tapped maple syrup, or you can go blueberry pancakes, three loaded pancakes, blueberry loaded pancakes with a blueberry compote. Lulu Kitchen is one of the best brunches in the
Top
business.
notch. There's a
Absolutely.
reason we wanted them. There's a reason we wanted them as a sponsor, and it's because of just the high quality stuff that they do. We might as well bring that back up while we're talking. I mean, they just do so many amazing dishes. The excitement oozes out of Chef Scott Hastings when he talks about his food. He has a very Tony Soprano vibe to him, but just the nicest guy. I've always known it from when I've been in there, but just having the time that we had to sit down and really kind of get to know him and his wife Jennifer a little bit more. That was a real special. Lunch, and I can't even just the brunch menu you brought up. I can't even. I don't even. That overwhelms me. I don't even know where I'd start.
Well, it's kind of like
And
we
then
were
you
having lunch
mentioned
that
one that
day.
you hadn't even heard of, so it's
Right. Well, they're always adding things, you know? They're always adding things to the menu like we talked about when we were there, and it's just we've brought them up with their burger. We've brought them up with, upscale dining. We're bringing them up now with breakfast and brunch. It's there's not really anything on there that's not going to make a lot of our lists. And like you said, it's a great reason and a great reason why we wanted them as a sponsor, because we really love everything about them.
Where to next?
You mentioned Kenny B's earlier. It's only fair, especially when you're talking about getting a nice, New Orleans style, Cajun breakfast. We talk about Benedict's. They got they got the crab cake Benedict. They got corned beef hash and eggs. They got Cajun andouille
Beignets.
sausage. The beignets are killer.
Oh yeah.
Breakfast po' boy sandwich. I mean, come on. Bananas Foster pancakes. They got a blueberry stuffed French toast as well. And then the Creole specials is really where they're going to shine for the breakfast. Fried oyster Benedict, the breakfast quesadilla, the eggs Nolans with crawfish, the Creole omelet with smoked sausage, shrimp, tomatoes, Creole sauce, and cheddar cheese. Of course, shrimp and grits. The Bow Bridge breakfast with the blackened Bowden sausage, omelet Rockefeller with spinach topping, crumbled bacon, Parmesan cheese topped with hollandaise. I mean, I don't even know what some of these things are. It's crazy. Lafayette
The
hash,
the
swamp hash with
waffles
fried
banana
gator.
Foster. The waffles
Yeah,
banana Foster. I have to specifically shout out. It's just the French toast bananas Foster. We had that down in New Orleans when we went down there on vacation, and it was like my son's like all-time favorite. And then I went to Kenny B's for breakfast. Again, not a place I think of for breakfast. Okay, so like, I absolutely love their catfish. I love everything about all of their seafood dishes, the Cajun flair of the New Orleans cooking that Kenny Ballard really has absolutely nailed. They used to be on the south end on Pope Avenue. They've moved over the bridge to Bridge Center in Bluffton, or Bluffton Head, whatever you want to call that little spot there, right over the bridge. Phenomenal new spot that they've created there, and definitely whether it's breakfast, lunch, dinner, definitely comfort food all around there. And wow, I didn't even realize how many amazing breakfast options they have. Where do you want to go next, Nick?
Let's hit not what you would expect me to throw in here, but I'm a big Java burrito fan. The whole concept with the tacos or burritos and bowls and whatever, and of course the coffee, and they serve alcoholic drinks there as well. One day I went there to meet someone for coffee. It was a business thing, and I got the breakfast tacos. Look at those tacos. I mean, customized, basically. You build it with whatever toppings that you want. They got a breakfast sandwich on brioche. They got a BLT breakfast sandwich. They got a breakfast bowl. They got a breakfast salad, as you would expect with the customization that you can get at Java Burrito. Of course, some of the best coffee that you'll find. They do cinnamon sugar toast. They do French toast. They do avocado toast. You wouldn't expect all of these things at Java Burrito, but if you're looking for a quick and the potatoes, the home fries that they serve with that are also really tasty. I was trying to think if they had a specific name for what they call those. Regardless, the breakfast potatoes are really tasty, and I haven't had a ton of breakfast tacos in my life, but these were outstanding. You can also get a quesadilla with scrambled eggs, melted cheese, and whatever toppings that you want.
Those breakfast tacos look amazing. I'll tell you what, like I see a dish like this and all the dishes you've been mentioning, and we're on overload today. We're mentioning a ton of restaurants today and a ton of photos. It's shocking to me that I've actually continued to lose weight since the start of this podcast and since we started doing these episodes. That's right. Shout out to my trainer Nick Shappy and Gunner Strength. We're actually going to be doing a fitness podcast in the near future, but yeah, it's this is one of those dishes that I look at and I'm just salivating, and it's like there's so many amazing options in the Low Country for really special dishes. Absolutely.
I mean, the next one that we're going to mention is one that we've mentioned a handful of times as well before, Bad Biscuit. Now, they recently just started serving dinner, but when you're talking breakfast, this was on that particular day. They have a revolving special that they call The Usual. The usual on this day was pancakes, eggs, hash browns, and sausage and bacon. It was basically like if you go to McDonald's and get the big breakfast, if it was like high end on steroids. There's some hot sauce there in the back. I think I got a side of sausage gravy with that as well. I mean, their biscuits, of course, are incredible. But, whatever you want to do, if you want to get them with bacon, if you want to get them sweet with the cinnamon sugar, the bites, you want to get hot shot chicken with boneless chicken and spicy local honey with the pimento cheese. You can get the Renegade with scrambled eggs, smoked Gouda, sauteed spinach, bacon jam, a Southern Benedict. My favorite is probably the Rooster Biscuits and Gravy, which is just their biscuit with sausage gravy and eggs on top, and I'll throw some hot sauce on there. They're constantly coming up with different things over there. They do a skillet. They do silver dollar pancakes. Bad Biscuit is badass, as is Nick Shappy, your trainer, by the way. That dude is an Adonis. What's the name of that training place?
Gunner Strength.
Gunner Strength. ER.
Yeah, they're in the Reverence Wrestling Building right next to Planet Fitness on Burnt Church. And you've seen Nick, or did you just look him up?
I met Nick when he was trick or treating with his kids when my brother and sister and my cousin were living over in New Riverside, and I had seen a lot of his content and things like that. And I don't remember what he was dressed up as, but he was playing the part, being a good dad.
The Hulk.
And yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, he literally could just paint himself green, and he could be the Hulk. Yeah, he's badass.
I've known him since I got here and I was the sports editor at Bluffton Today. He was like a 3-sport athlete at Bluffton, and has just continued to excel. Wrestled in college and has gone on to start his own fitness empire here in the Low Country. But really, really good dude. So I'm glad you've met him.
Yeah, he's a good dude and great trainer. I know that from just seeing and hearing about him.
All right, one spot I want to hit that we didn't have on the main list, Skillet's Cafe on the south end of Hilton Head is really an institution out there. The Bama family, Amy, her son Evan is now in charge of the kitchen. What you're looking at here is what they call the kitchen sink. They just throw the kitchen sink at you. You've got phenomenal pancakes, bacon, really thick cut bacon, sausage links, very healthy portion of scrambled eggs, the little bites of kind of home fries, and a gorgeous homemade biscuit. So Skillet's, again, an institution on the south end, and for good reason. And so wanted to slip them in there and specifically recommend the kitchen sink to you.
I'm glad you did.
Where to next for you, sir?
As we talked about offline, I haven't tried Skillet's yet, but I definitely want to get there. I always hear a lot of people shout them out when people are looking for good breakfast places. A lot of people might not hear about this one because it's really a market, but Low Country Fresh has some pretty good breakfast. You can get a breakfast sandwich there on bread or a bagel. You can get a lox bagel, which is really good. There you see the pretty straightforward breakfast plate that's got some pancakes on it as well. They got muffins, they got scones, they got croissants, they got cinnamon rolls. We've talked about their sandwiches, we've talked about their breads and things like that. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. They got 12, 13 different breakfast plates. They got a yogurt parfait. So go check out Low Country Fresh, sit out on the porch, enjoy yourself some breakfast. I want to go quick back to Hilton Head. Southern Coney and breakfast is another popular one. Had a really good breakfast with my dad. I think it was sometime last year. They got a lot of good stuff, and they got. I didn't realize until I went there that a Coney is actually over in the Midwest. They talk about the Coney is like a chili dog up there. My father loved those, but what you're looking at there is the crispy fried chicken biscuit with the egg, however you want that on the top. And then I went with the hash browns with some cheese on there. Southern Coney is a really good spot. No frills, but great service. And it's got that diner vibe. And they got a lot of different breakfast and brunch options. Of course, that's in Pope Avenue where the old Bilo was. And where you got Al's Aloha Kitchen, and we'll be talking about Al's in the coming weeks. So Southern Coney and breakfast is another good one.
Nice. I will throw in another spot in Old Town Bluffton on the Promenade. Used to be on May River Road. Sip and Cow Cafe. What you're looking at here is the strawberry chocolate chip pancakes. So many delicious things at Sip and Cow. Um, you know, I'm always a fan of the thick cut bacon there. Um, it's just it's really a cool little spot to just kind of hang, and it's like I said, it's an institution in Old Town, and really has I don't know, it's withstood the test of time, and that's a large testament to Christy Pinsky. She purchased the cow in October 2010, and built in the promenade, and they've done amazing things there. She's does a lot of catering. She's gotten into some, I think, chicken salad ventures, where they do some packaging stuff for Palmetto Bluff and other spots. She's in a lot of kind of got her hand in a lot of different cookie jars. Everyone she does is fantastic. So definitely wanted to get Sip and Cow on our lightning round list.
What's funny, Tim? We're in each other's heads as usual because I wrote that down. Look at that, plus Sip and Cow
Yeah,
Cafe and Grill. I wrote that down yesterday, the day before, and if you didn't mention it, I was going to mention it. Also, a nice little screened-in porch outside there. I think it's a great place to take kids, and they got sometimes they got some cool specials and things like that on there as well. I've had several good breakfasts at Sip and Cow as well. Good spot
they've got some cool merch too. The logo's great.
for sure.
And as many as we mentioned here, we didn't even get Plantation Cafe on here, which is again another great spot.
Three of them.
Three now.
I thought there was two on the island, or no?
I guess I only know of one, but
Yeah.
I know of that one. I know of
Yeah,
one
there's
in Buckwalter.
Discovery Drive in Bluffton,
Yep,
which
yep.
of course is everybody knows where that one is. And then they got the one that's on Pope Avenue, and then there's actually one as well in the Port Royal Plaza Shopping Center.
Yeah, they fantastic, and that's become kind of a go-to at times for my family on an extended family with the in-laws on a Sunday morning brunch. Huge fan of their French toast there. Cannot recommend their French toast enough. Omelet Cafe also. We didn't mention Omelet Cafe, but another one of those chains. But they're open. They're on Buckwalter Parkway now. That's really become a kind of meeting place for a lot of the Buckwalter scene. They're getting ready to open up another spot next to Parlor Donuts in across from the Food Lion Plaza near Sun City. So no timing on that. Just happened to see a sign out front there. But yeah, Omelet Cafe, really, really good classic breakfasts. You put omelet in the name, the omelets better be good, right? They are. They're delicious. They're always just spot on. So, we mentioned so many here, Nick, and it's like as I'm talking, because I think we brought up French toast at one point, and I'm like, Plantation. How did we not even get Plantation on here? But yeah. That's a pretty full view of the breakfast scene around here, I think, and I'm sure we forgot somebody that we're gonna hear from the viewers and listeners, and we'll mention them next week. But
I know there's a lot of people that like. I know that there's a lot of people that like Bacon Diner.
Yes,
I've been there a couple times. Bacon
absolutely.
Diner's solid. And we didn't even talk about
Bacon Diner more for the burgers and the hot dogs, the lunch, but yeah, a lot of breakfast fans as well.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about Nectar with two locations.
Oh yeah,
in Hilton Head and Bluffton. We didn't talk about Nectar. Obviously, they took the Fat Patty's location in Bluffton a couple of years ago. They do oyster roast and things like that, but they got a really good breakfast. I had a country fried or chicken fried steak there a couple of months ago that was spectacular. They got some really good cocktails and creative cocktails and things like that too. And they took the space that was previously occupied by Lucky Rooster, right? That's where they moved. One Hot Mamas took their place outside of Sea Pines, and they moved over to where Lucky Rooster is.
Love their breakfast. And the chicken
Yep.
chicken waffles at Nectar is legit as well, for sure.
Huevos rancheros, the duck hash. How about that?
Yeah, and they've got some really for the sweet tooth in you. They've got some donut options there that are capital I insane.
Oh yeah.
So,
that was a robust breakfast list, my friend. I'm sure we still missed a few, but like we always say, send in your suggestions and recommendations. I know someone mentioned in one of the posts, they mentioned Watusi Cafe. We're going to save that one for another episode that's coming down the pike. We'll give them their just due as well. But no shortage of options. And also, we can't forget, very soon we're going to have Nosh New York Bagels over in the Riverwalk.
Oh yeah, and that kind of I think will lead us into kind of starting to get into some specialty foods once we get past the overview sort of categories. We'll start to kind of drill down a little bit into some specific foods like cheesesteaks and bagels excited for that. Huh?
David Gerwell's cheesesteaks. We mentioned the Cheesecake National Cheesesteak Day. I keep saying cheesecake instead of cheesesteak, although cheesecake could be a whole episode in itself. David Gerwell's from Coast EXP as well. He commented on one of the posts and he said, "What are some of the best cheesesteaks?" And I said, "Well, that's a whole episode that we're going to attack, coming down the pike." But, the first thing, of course, that comes to mind is, Dominic's outside of Home Depot. But like you said, we'll start talking about more specific dishes and sandwiches and items and things like that as we get through season one, where we're really just focusing on one particular category with each episode. We're rocking and rolling, my friend.
So, you mentioned it. We got Chinese next week.
Yes, we're going to go with Chinese food. We're going to have Martin Lesh on, again, well-known pianist, musician. Martin Lesh is going to talk to us about some Chinese food. Really excited to get into. I am a huge fan of food. There's a restaurant group over in Savannah that's called Rhino Hospitality Group, and most of their restaurants are Asian-inspired. I have been to almost all of them. I love Chinese food. I love Thai food. I love Vietnamese food. I love, what's the other one that I was thinking of? That was it. Vietnamese. Yeah.
Korean.
I love Korean. I love ramen. I love pho. I love all of it. So as excited as I was for bars and burgers and breakfast and brunch, I am equally excited for Chinese and other Asian cuisine, as well as the following week, we're going to talk about some sushi more specifically that deserves its own category. So yeah, I'm really excited about this one because as much as I'm Italian and as much as I love all types of different foods, I would say that my go-to, I don't know necessarily for comfort, but a lot of times I just go to the well on Chinese and Asian food in general is just really one of my favorites. So I'm really excited about that category.
So as we wrap up the podcast here, I want to remind you can listen and subscribe wherever you find your favorite podcast: iHeart, Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Podbean. Wherever you find your favorite podcast, you will find us. Want to encourage you to if you're watching us, a lot of folks see us first on Facebook, but please. Another echo. Okay, we fixed that screen too. Okay. lot of people watch us first on Facebook,
All right, cool.
but you can certainly. We encourage you to check out the Indulgent Islander YouTube channel. You see the address on the screen there. Watch us on YouTube on your phones, your tablets, and your TV. Looks really good on the TV. I was very happy with how it looked on. I blew it up on the 80-inch, and it looked. You're very you loom large on an 80-inch TV, my friend.
This giant head of mine.
That giant head, the Michael K head.
Where all the great ideas come from.
There you go. So there's the YouTube channel. Also want to send a shout out. Huge shout out to our listeners. Huge shout out to our listeners. We love what we do. We love that you're loving the podcast. Much love to our wives, Joss and Debbie, for putting up with our obsession and all this silliness. And I want to tell you, the Indulgent Islander Podcast is a production of Overmedia Media. Want us to produce your podcast? Give me a call. Give me a text, 843-290-6242. Or email me at timawood@gmail.com. And yes, I've been asked. It's kind of an old topic at this point. I've been asked this. But Tim A is a long-time email address. The Tim A is from the Tim A on South Park. So there you go. So another one in the books, Mr. Nick. Any last thoughts?
No, that's all I got. As Tim said, we appreciate your support, and we got a lot of fun stuff coming down the pike. So stay tuned. And as always, stay hungry, my friends.
Talk to you next week, everybody.
You got it.